out for a walk with Nimley. It's February, beautiful blue sky, and a dog that wants to go for a walk. So, let's talk about Cradle Earth. This was a very difficult story to write, actually. Sometimes stories come really easy, sometimes they take a while. This one took me about 2 years to write, I think. We first got the idea for the story when driving in New Zealand, and we had a little fact we learnt that Neanderthal brains were bigger than humans, and they could do a vocalization on a wider scale. And that started us talking and thinking about what happened to them, and then researching, talking to professors at universities about Neanderthals and what had been discovered. And actually, it's a good job that took a while to do that story, because every year new evidence comes along about Neanderthals. So for a while we thought they weren't genetically connected to us, and now we found that certain groups of humans have a proportion of Neanderthal DNA. We thought for a while they didn't create, but we found art and we found musical instruments created by Neanderthals. And all the time the dates are changing. So now we know, although it'll probably change next year, that Neanderthals were around for around 300,000 years. And once we got that piece of information, that's what blew our minds about what they could have done and could have been. So here are people who were as smart as us, who had art, who had death ritual, and were around for 300,000 years. Now, humans have been around for about 35,000 years. And so we were just trying to imagine a science fiction story based in the time of Neanderthals, but we couldn't imagine how far advanced they would be. I mean, for us, with 35,000 years, imagine where we'll be in 1,000 years' time. Will we be on Mars? Will we be even beyond our solar system? Where will we be in 5,000 years, in 10,000 years? So, if you imagine where we would be in 270,000 years from now, it's quite mind-blowing. So, that was the premise of the story Cradle Earth. And then Cradle Earth, of course, because life, as far as we know, only exists on our planet in the solar system. Who knows about other star systems? We don't know. And Earth is a fantastic place for life to grow. So we imagined that it wasn't just Neanderthals or us. Maybe there were other species that grew and left Earth, like a baby bird leaving the nest. And here's something to think about. Maybe that's what's happening to us now. Maybe with climate change and evolving technologies, maybe we will be pushed from Earth to go and take our place amongst the stars. So that's Cradle Earth, and within there, of course, we get to try and imagine what the philosophy of such an advanced species would be. That's where Pep Kari talks about consciousness theory and cognitons and other things. All of this is just us trying to imagine where would philosophy be in the future, and where would the understanding of the physical universe be. And Dr. Erwin Katz, he of course represents human arrogance at the beginning, a complacency that we think just because we look at a thing we really understand it, and clearly that's not the case. So I hope you enjoyed it. One last thing. Sometimes you write a story for other people, and sometimes you write a story for somebody you love, or you write a story for, a kid or whatever. That story we wrote purely for us. It was a fantasy story. Ever since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, I've imagined going to space, of course, and travelling and seeing new stars and new galaxies and meeting new species. So sometimes you just write what you want to happen, so you can live that story as you write it. That's why I think people who just write horror stories for a living, that's got to be really hard work. That's got to be hard. Or like murder stories, true crime and stuff like that. Because for me, when I write a story, during that month or 2 months or year that I write it, I'm living it. I'm in that world and doing those things. And being in Pep Kari's world was a lot of fun. Anyway, that's it. I've been talking enough. I'll talk to you next time.